confess that my breakdown between your mother and I has caused an emotional unbalance in the family.
Most of the time, I don't like my family. Everyone in my family.
Look at Brown.
Everybody. I feel like I'm angry at everybody in my family. I don't like my family. If they weren't my family, it wouldn't be my friends.
Y'all, it looks like the Braxton's niece Ashley has opened up a can of worms in the form of family trauma. Because now the Braxton's ex-husbands are out here talking about all the things they saw in the Braxton's family that left them downright traumatized. And when they say that the Braxton sisters are dealing with some sort of generational trauma, baby, they mean every word they say. Even Tony's ex-husband, Carrie Lewis, is breaking down how Tony used her sisters to push her career forward and the reason why all of the sisters, especially Tamar and Tawanda, don't get along.
Tamar, you had me thinking I was crazy too. I see, you know what? It felt like a surviving Tamar moment. You know, they always talk about how, women is being mentally abused and physically abused. Men get mentally and physically abused too. Cause she just socked me in my jaw before. You feel me? And I'm sure Jeremy got before and got their head cracked. Okay? And them gas station pills, yeah. You gotta do something to stay afloat,
Now, let's be honest, every family has their issues. But them Braxtons? The Braxtons really take it there. And this whole thing with the sisters really started with Evelyn and Michael Braxton Sr. When Ashley came out with her story about one of her auntie's husbands having an inappropriate relationship with her, the family's interaction both then and now has been very telling. When she was 16 years old, the family put all the blame on her and started to keep their distance. Ashley felt so isolated and so unloved that she upped and moved to a whole other country just to start over. After she did a whole TikTok story about it, the family didn't show any support, neither public nor privately. According to Ashley, the only one of her aunties who reached out to her was Tamar.
Now, before anyone says anything, please let it be known and let it be clear that as I am in this journey and in this process, and as I'm healing and trying to understand all of this stuff, that it feels really good to have a family member behind me.
She liked the post Ashley made and also reconnected with her because she had been distant, having had to recover from some similar trauma as well as other life obstacles. But what's the excuse for the rest of the aunties and family? I mean, nothing, not even a peep out of them. You'd think that Grandma Evelyn would be even a bit appalled about what happened to her granddaughter, but still nothing. I mean, Ashley even said that her own dad, Mikey, sent her a cease and desist letter, basically telling her that she was going to get sued if she came out with the story. And that's just downright nasty. And isn't it a shame that the main person who was assigned to your life to protect and defend and comfort you falls short in a huge way? That's sad. And it's also sad to see the way that they are more focused on silencing her than actually bringing her back into the fold. And y'all know that Ashley ain't the only one to go through something like this. When Tamar came out with her story that she had been touched several times as a kid, her own sisters basically used their words and slapped her right in the face.
Well, first of all, I was very disappointed in finding out via social media because our family is closer than that. And to have someone else regurgitate that story to us. Well, I can only speak for me. Right? But for someone else to tell me the story of something that happened to my own family is very disheartening.
They pretty much said that what Tamar claimed happened to her was her truth, but not necessarily the truth. And that was just a fancy way of saying they don't believe her. Tamar's sisters were also a little bit insensitive about the whole thing because they were more annoyed about the fact that Tamar didn't call them about it first, versus the fact that she had to deal with this mess in the first place. And apart from Tamar, Tracy, and Ashley, there's no telling who else faced similar issues when they were growing up. But one thing we cannot deny is that Mama Evelyn may have known all along. Check this out. She never let Tamar name the family member that had abused her, and the sisters all got their issues because their mama and their dad, by the way, because Michael Sr. wasn't much better. He had abandoned them after their mother divorced him, and he went on to marry his side piece, thus letting them down on so many different levels. And then their mom was stuck in the hospital for a while due to an injury, and Toni really had to step up for her sisters. Once she did that, it never ended. And when she started out in the industry as a singer, it was like Toni became responsible for her sisters' careers as well.
My sister Tracy is the one who said to me, Toni, you know, when you make it, you can help us come on. So I always try to abide that. But the responsibility of it is so heavy for me. I feel like I can never live my life, and I never used to say it. I never used to say anything to anybody.
Each of them wanted to have their come up, either through entertainment or by marrying a man with a bag. Toni was out here competing with the likes of Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston, and she was desperate to succeed in her own lane. Now, we ain't saying that Toni doesn't have a beautiful voice, because she absolutely does. However, compared to Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston, her vocals ain't first and they ain't second either. So, Toni recruited her sister Tamar to be her hidden voice, and it was really Tamar that made her sound the way she did. And Toni also had Tawanda, who was her assistant, and she and Trina sometimes sang background too. But Tamar started to crave her own stardom, and that's when the divide within the family really started to show up. The group that Trina, Tawanda, and Tamar were in couldn't work because the sisters were always fighting. And then when Tamar got with Vince, he was able to secure them a reality show. Tawanda thought that the reality show was supposed to be a way for the family to maintain their relevance and come up together, which would really benefit her. But then Tamar came out of nowhere and ended up being the breakout star of the show. Tamar got her solo career and even spin-off reality shows, and eventually a talk show. And since then, Tamar has been on several other reality shows. According to Tawanda's ex-husband Andre, that was when the resentment and competition between the sisters really started to grow.
You felt guilty because you know how you've been acting, and however, excuse me, let me finish because I let you talk. Thank you. I will, and I will, and I will, and yes. So, and then you decided that you wanted to say something, like you just couldn't let him say something nice about me.
Do you think you've been the same exact person?
He does.
No, I'm asking you. Do you think that you?
I know him.
I'm asking. Do you think
I'm
that you?
answering. I have been the single team.
So you
Toni,
are.
you're not my authority.
So you are.
Or am I afraid of you? So don't talk to me like that, okay?
Hilarious.
Every time we get together.
According to Andre, Tawanda and Trina blamed Tamar for their group not succeeding and continued to hold resentment towards her because they weren't really able to have a stable career afterwards. Tawanda was married to Andre, who didn't work and didn't really like to do much of anything aside from occasionally helping with the kids. And she had to work alone for years to put food on the table.
Andre's a writer. He basically sits home and writes books, his own books. And he takes care of the kids, which is great. Except for one thing, he's not out selling any of his books, which means I have to take care of the household because he is not bringing any money in.
I don't like some of the things you do, true. Basically, I feel like I married my mother. And I didn't like my mother. I loved her to death. But I didn't like her.
It got so bad that she eventually faced criminal charges for forgery and theft by receiving. And Tawanda got slapped with yet another case of fraud by her landlord for not paying her rent and for damages to his property. Tracy had her own issues too when it came to money, and even their landlord made an IG post about how Tracy and her husband Kevin Sr. weren't paying their rent and were trying to front like they owned the property. But back to Andre. He claims that Tamar and Toni did try to pitch in every now and again to help their sisters, but it wasn't always in a kind and loving way. Toni had been a bit of a diva, and Tamar was always here and there when it came to her mood swings. But both Tamar and Toni were the most successful sisters, and whenever Tawanda, Tracy, and Trina asked for some sort of assistance, they were treated more like servants than sisters. Toni and Tamar continuously attacked their sisters' self-esteem, and it was like they enjoyed having some type of dominance over them. And their mom, Evelyn, never really did much to resolve the competitiveness and resentment that was growing among the sisters, and allegedly often took sides with Tony and Tamar since they were the ones with the money and industry connections. And the sisters' competitiveness and family trauma even began to spill into their marriages and relationships. They could always get a man to put a ring on it and marry them, but one thing that they were never able to do was go the long haul with anyone. And their mom's bitterness was part of the reason why none of the sisters were able to have successful marriages.
I mean, they have love. And look at them. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
You're just saying what?
I'm just saying they have love, and look at them. It's always something, for God's sake.
What do you mean?
Every man cheats except for President Obama, because if he cheated, then everybody would have known about it before he was president.
That's right.
Right.
Tawanda had a very odd marriage with Andre, and her current beau, Sean, is only there for the benefits and perks of being with her because she seems way more in love with him than he is into her. Tony had a messy marriage and split from her ex-husband, and the word is that her relationship with Birdman wasn't the best either because he swings both ways and she wasn't getting down like that. Gabe clowned Trina every chance he got when they were on their reality show, and she went from that toxic mess to another messy relationship with her new husband, Vaughn. Tamar has been married and divorced 3 times, and Tracy did forgive Kevin for the things he did, even allegedly having a baby outside of their marriage, but she definitely didn't forget, and when she passed, she left everything to her son, and Kevin Sr. is still out here being salty about it.
Tracy Braxton said checkmate in real life. Left everything to her son. The cheating husband gets nothing. My girl was moving in stealth mode in complete silence, had the lawyer come and record her final wishes before her health started to decline so that it couldn't be contested. May we all learn and aspire to be Tracy Braxton.
And folks are still talking about all the secrets and dysfunction in the Braxton family. I'm glad I didn't grow up in a family where your parents are deities and you don't speak up against them. The Braxtons are effed up all because of them parents. When it comes to the Braxtons, few of their issues are black and white. There's a lot of truth wrapped up in each one of their grievances. The foundation of their problems, though, is Mama E. If she would own up to her mistakes, I think it would help heal the family. The more I think about the Braxtons, the more they give just dark energy for real. But what do y'all think? Make sure you sound off in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Bye, baddies.